Everyday English Podcast
by English Talking Today.
Hello, and welcome back to English Talking Today. I'm Mary, and today we're diving into a topic that I know is on almost all of your minds: how to truly master English speaking. Not just understanding it, not just reading it, but actually speaking it fluently, confidently, and naturally. This is the skill that takes your English learning journey from a hobby to a real life changer. Let's start with why this is so important, because having a strong why fuels your motivation. Speaking is the key skill that unlocks everything else. Think about it. If you want to travel the world, studying abroad, or land that international job, speaking is the door that opens those opportunities. When you travel, being able to chat with locals, ask for directions, or just connect with people and make friends instantly transforms your experience. And professionally, fluency in English often leads to better job opportunities, faster promotions, and allows you to network with people all over the globe. Beyond the practical benefits, learning to speak English fluently significantly improves your thinking speed and builds immense confidence in social situations. It also gives you direct access to a wider world of books, courses, and online resources for learning new skills, bypassing any language barriers. Now, let's talk about the biggest hurdle for most learners: overcoming fear and shyness. I know so many of you hesitate to speak because you're afraid of making mistakes, and I get it. That fear can be paralyzing. But here is the most important mindset shift you need to make. Making mistakes is absolutely normal. Every single fluent speaker you admire started with mistakes, and they are not a sign of failure. They are a sign that you are trying and you are learning. Think of a toddler learning to walk. They fall down hundreds of times, but they don't stop trying because they understand the goal is worth the effort. Your mistakes are just stepping stones to fluency. So, how do we tackle this fear practically? Start small. You don't have to jump into a huge conversation with a native speaker right away. Try talking to yourself in English first. Narrate your day. I am brushing my teeth. I need to make a cup of coffee. Practice simple sentences daily. Once you feel a bit more comfortable, practice with friends, classmates, or an online language partner to create a safe space where you know you won't be judged harshly. Another powerful technique is to record yourself speaking. Just use the voice recorder app on your phone. Record a 1-minute summary of your day. Listening back to it helps you notice improvements and areas for work without the pressure of a live audience. The goal here is to focus on progress, not perfection. Stop comparing yourself to others. Your journey is unique. Sometimes, pretending you're a teacher or guide can help. You focus on sharing knowledge instead of worrying about your grammar. Next up is what you actually put into your practice: learning vocabulary and phrases. This is where many learners make a mistake by focusing only on individual words. Learning phrases is much more effective than focusing on single words because it teaches you how words naturally fit together, helping you speak naturally and less robotically. For example, don't just learn the word agree. Learn the phrase, I completely agree with you, or the more natural alternatives like exactly or absolutely. Start with common greetings and questions like, how are you? And then learn different, flexible responses like, yes, of course, absolutely, or I'm not so sure about that to make your conversations flow smoothly. Make sure to learn phrases for different situations, whether it's ordering at a restaurant, presenting an idea at work, or asking for help. The key is to practice these phrases regularly by repeating them out loud and consciously using them in conversations until they become automatic. Speaking of how to sound natural, let's talk about listening to speak better. Listening is, arguably, one of the most important skills for improving your speaking because it helps you learn the correct pronunciation, rhythm, and natural expressions that you can't get just from a textbook. Regular listening, whether it's to this podcast, English songs, YouTube videos, or movies, helps your brain recognize patterns and intonation, and even helps you start to think in English without translating. I highly recommend a technique called shadowing. Find an audio clip from a native speaker, pause it after a sentence, and try to say the sentence exactly like they did, matching their speed, rhythm, and intonation. You can also listen actively by focusing specifically on the sentence structure and the commonly used phrases they are saying. The more you listen and mimic, the more natural your own speech will become. Ultimately, the power of practice cannot be overstated. Speaking English is a skill, like playing the piano or riding a bike, and it only improves with regular, consistent practice. You have so many methods available. Talk to yourself in English every day, narrate your day, your plans, or a story you read. Practice with friends, classmates, or use online language partners. There are amazing apps and AI chatbots today that can give you instant, low-stress speaking practice. Here is the magic number: consistency. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day is more effective than practicing once a week for hours because it keeps the language fresh in your mind and makes it a daily habit. And when you practice, you will inevitably hit the wall of embracing mistakes. We talked about the fear, but what do you do when the mistake happens? The worst thing is to feel embarrassed and shut down. Instead, adopt a positive attitude toward them. Think of your mistakes as feedback. When you notice a mistake or someone gently corrects you, notice it without judgment and simply repeat the sentence correctly a few times. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback from a language partner or teacher. They are there to help. Remember, mistakes are your stepping stones to fluency, not failures. Finally, we need to address the speed bump, thinking in English. If you are constantly translating from your native language into English in your head, your speaking will always be slow, hesitant, and unnatural. Training yourself to think directly in English is what makes your speech faster and smoother. How do you do this? Start simple. Narrate your day in English using simple, present tense sentences. I am having breakfast, the traffic is heavy, or I am listening to a podcast. Practice short thoughts in English throughout the day. I'm hungry, that's interesting, or I need to check my email. With time, these short thoughts will turn into full sentences, and eventually, you'll be having conversations in your head entirely in English. To quickly recap the core strategies for mastering English speaking: 1. Accept that speaking is the key skill that opens doors. 2. Overcome the fear of mistakes by starting small and focusing on progress, not perfection. 3. Prioritize learning common phrases over single words to sound natural. 4. Use listening and shadowing to internalize pronunciation and rhythm. 5. Embrace consistent daily practice, even if it's short. 6. See mistakes as feedback, not failure. And 7. Actively work on thinking in English to speed up your fluency. This is not a quick fix, it's a marathon. But by starting with small, consistent steps every single day, you will absolutely see dramatic improvements. Be patient with yourself, stay confident, and start speaking today. Now, before we wrap up, I want to give you 2 very practical exercises you can start with today. The first is about using that recording technique we mentioned. You can use your phone's voice recorder. For fluency practice, just hit record and talk for 1 minute about anything, like a verbal summary of your day. Don't pause, don't redo, just speak naturally. Do this once a week and compare your recordings monthly to hear your improvements in confidence and flow. For pronunciation practice, find a short native speaker audio clip with a transcript. Record yourself saying the exact same words, then play your audio and the native speaker's audio back to back. This is a great way to notice the small differences in sound, intonation, and rhythm that you need to practice. The second exercise is to make your speech sound less robotic by using natural alternatives. Let's look at some common situations. Instead of always saying the basic, "How are you?" I'm fine, thank you. Try alternatives like, how's it going? Or what's up? To sound more casual. Instead of just I agree, use phrases like exactly or absolutely. If you need to disagree, instead of the blunt I disagree, a more polite and natural way is to say, I'm not so sure about that. When thanking someone, swap out the simple thank you for I really appreciate it or the very informal I owe you one. And finally, for asking for help, instead of can you help me, try could you give me a hand? Learning these essential natural English phrases will make a huge difference in how confident and fluent you sound. The most important takeaway, once again, is to start speaking every day and be patient. The transformation is waiting for you. Thank you so much for joining me today on English Talking Today. I hope these strategies give you the push you need to take your English speaking to the next level. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe.